So Matt Mercer just dropped a gift. A dark, twisted, soul-rendering, party-killing gift. And I'm here for it. The Age of Umbra adversaries are now live on Darrington Press's website. And not only do we get the core stat blocks, but we get Matt's own modified versions, built for large, deadly campaigns where no character is safe. But this isn't just monster stat porn. This is a masterclass in how to build tension, adapt mechanics, and kill your players. Narratively, probably, mostly. Welcome my goblin-loving gobbets of gelatinous genius. Today we're digging into Matt Mercer's Age of Umbra adversaries. Not just what he made up, but what he changed for his terrifying campaign. You want to learn how to modify monsters without breaking the rules or ruining trust. I spent some time combing through the files, building a spreadsheet, categorizing the creatures by tier and type, and tracking every single mechanical change Matt made. And what I found was absolute gold. What are Age of Umbra adversaries? First, a quick lay of the blood-soaked land. These aren't just one-shot baddies. This is a full roster of campaign-level threats, ranging from tier 1 minions like the Living Tentacles, all the way up to the tier 2 solos like the blasphemous angel Evelar, complete with both default stat blocks and Mercer modified versions tailored for his table. And he's not shy about why. These were designed for a large party who wanted a particularly deadly game. Translation: I hope you brought backup characters. But it's how he modified them, and when, that's the real lesson. Early campaign modifications, tier 1. So let's start simple, the early episodes. Minimal changes, like really minimal. In most tier 1 encounters, the only thing Matt touched was the HP, usually just by +1 or +2 across the board. And you know what? That was enough. If a creature leaned heavily on stress-based abilities, he might bump up the stress by 1 as well, which in Daggerheart is a big deal. Even a single point of extra stress makes certain creatures feel way more threatening. Take the Velk of Forsaken. Velk was given an extra point of stress, and it matters because the stress has a throw ability. Mark a stress to make an attack in melee. On a success, deal 1d8 plus 3 damage and force a strength reaction roll, 13. On a failure, the target is thrown anywhere in close range. That move alone can turn the tide of a fight. Add 1 more stress to the tank, suddenly you're playing a different game. We all saw the party yeeting adversaries off of high ledges and cliffs and holes. Scaling with the party, tier 2. As the party grows, hello Liam and Laura, and the campaign pushes into tier 2, Matt starts tweaking more than just HP. Here's what we start seeing. +1 to +2 attack bonuses, minor buffs to features, slightly increased stress and HP. But these are all still conservative changes. Why? Because when you're already designing deadly creatures, you don't need to go nuclear. You just need to sharpen the claws a little. For example, Gloom Tower Thrall got a +5 to a weapon attack, the largest bonus increase across the whole sheet, which makes sense given its role as a relentless juggernaut compared to the Terrorgut, who didn't get anything. Terrorgut was already perfectly terrifying. Now let's talk about why one of the most cinematic, most brutal encounters in all of Age of Umbra, the Gloom Tower Thrall, a lumbering metal warped horror, and spoilers ahead, the one who killed Deadlier, as she got crushed by its metal cage, thanks to its Cage of the Judge feature. Shortly after being freed, she was struck and killed by the monster. And yes, she came back as a zombie. Briefly, this is Age of Umbra after all. But it wasn't done, because the Terrorgut was there too, a demon that gathers and devours souls, and whose stat block was left entirely untouched by Mercer, and for a good reason. It has Devour. If a PC marks HP or stress from its attack, it can spend stress to permanently devour their soul. And that wasn't enough. August died fighting it too. In a final blaze of glory, he sacrificed himself to destroy the creature, unleashing a massive magical blast that took the Terrorgut down. 2 deaths, 1 encounter. Only minor modifications needed. Sometimes the monster is the difficulty setting. Some creatures were never used, and you can tell. There are 2 adversaries in the document that were never modified at all. Damask Marauder Band, Damask Archer Squad. Why? Because the party never fought them. They just ran through the area, skipped the encounter, and Mercer didn't waste the time modifying something that never hit the board. That's a great takeaway. Don't over-prep enemies your party might bypass. It's okay to modify on the fly when the time comes. Final boss fight, Blasphemous Angel Evelar. And now the end. The final encounter of the campaign featured Blasphemous Angel Evelar and the Profane Disciples. Here Matt pumped up both HP and stress. Why? Because Evelar had 2 devastating stress-fueled powers. The Flock's Call. Mark a stress to spotlight 1d4 +1 allies. Their attacks deal half damage during this spotlight. This ability turns the battlefield into a chaotic mess of choices. Do you fight, flee, or hold out while their damage is muted? Look into the void. Mark a stress to force a nearby PC to make a presence or insight reaction roll. On a failure, they mark a stress, become vulnerable, until they succeed with hope. And Evelar heals 2 HP. That's right, she punishes you emotionally, mechanically, and heals herself all in one move. So yeah, giving her extra stress isn't just for survivability, it's how she weaponizes dread. You don't need to change the stats wildly, you just stretch the scene out, give it more room to breathe, and burn. Umbra-touched creatures, no new conversions. One last note, every creature that was originally not Umbra-touched in the base stat blocks, Matt didn't make any of them Umbra-touched. There's no everything crits on a 1920 now homebrew happening here. He didn't slap on bonuses just for flavor. So if it wasn't already touched by the Umbra, he left it alone. That's discipline, that's trust in encounter design. But it could also be that he already chose which ones are Umbra touched beforehand. Your takeaways as a GM. Okay, Flamey, this is all cool, but what do I do with it? Let's break it down. Early campaign. Just adjust HP by +1 or +2. And if the monster uses stress heavy abilities, give it a +1 stress. That's all you need. Don't touch features or mechanics unless you really need to. Matt mostly left these alone. To hit bonus increases, a small bump, +1 or +2, goes a long way. Anything above a +5 is rare, and usually for really hard hitting bosses. No need to Umbra touch your monsters unless the narrative demands it. Crit fishing is fun, but not necessary. If you mess up the numbers mid-fight, fix it. Lower HP on the fly, adjust stress. The players won't know, they just feel the tension. You're turning an engine, not writing scripture. But try and leave the base stats alone if you've modified them. Don't lower the HP even more, if you can help it. And finally, ask your players what kind of game they want. Are they looking for narrative drama, or are they okay with someone dying before the end of session 1? Because those are very different games, and Matt was running the second one. Flamey's favourite, Age of Umbra monsters. Alright, let's talk favourites. Erin the Limb Wraith. Erin wasn't just a boss, she was a tragedy in disguise. A young girl sick and fading, who was slowly unraveling into something far worse. The party tried to help her, trusted her, but it was already too late. When she transformed into the Limb Wraith, she destroyed the pyre and kicked off the real nightmare of the Age of Umbra. And mechanically, she's brutal. Tendrils, multiple attacks, battlefield dominance. She doesn't just fight, she introduces you to the horror that's coming, and is a great first big boss. Mother. Oh boy. You knew Taliesin had his fingerprints on this one. A twisted experimenter who crafted wings onto her own children and surrounded herself with hive collectors like some fungal queen. The battlefield control here is just gross, in the best way. Terrorgut and Gloomtower Thrall. The soul-devouring terror and the living tower of meat that follows it. One traps you, the other eats you. Together they're a walking TPK machine, and they earned it. Blasphemous Angel Evelar. As a final boss, Chef's Kiss. The choir mechanic, the stress synergy, the mind-breaking abilities, it's all designed for a slow burn, cinematic climax that tests everything your party's learned. So what did we learn today, adventurers? That you don't need to reinvent the wheel, just tilt it. Matt Mercer didn't create new monsters from scratch. He nudged, he stretched, he tuned. And now, we can take those same techniques and make our own tables more deadly, more dynamic, and more dramatic. So hit the subscribe button if you want the tools to become the scariest GM at the table. Until then, cue evil laugh, and may your nightmares be mechanically balanced. Stay spicy, adventurers.